Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome back to HSCI2112W. I hope you all had a great weekend. Here we are at the last quarter of the course. This course goes by so quickly. But I just wanted to make some general comments from last week. Let's go back to week 5. I wanted to just make some general comments about the writing that I'm seeing coming through. You may or may not notice it yourself. I hope you are noticing it yourself, that there's been much improvement, I think, over the entire class of where we started in the writing that I was reading earlier. So kudos for everyone who has toughed this course out. It's a lot of work, and I'm sensitive to the amount of work, but I do think that I'm seeing overall improvement in everyone's writing. So really, congratulations in that regard. Secondly, I wanted to talk about the concept of an annotated bibliography. Now, it may not seem like an important thing to do, an annotated bibliography. When you're writing a paper with a lot of references, or you're trying to construct ideas that come from many different resources, this is a way to keep organized, meaning understanding what it is from each paper is really important to what you're going to be writing about. And this could be on the level of the research that was done, or the argument that they're making, or the definitions. It seems like an exercise, I'm sure, when you do an annotated bibliography. I also want to encourage people, and many of you may or may not use these tools, but there are tools like RefWorks, EndNote, Zotero, that are computer programs that can not only store your references that you're using for paper, or for anything that you might be using it on. My EndNote library is like 1,300 titles that I've used over the years in my writing. It can also be a place where you store, say, a PDF of the resource, and where you could also put notes in a similar way you would in an annotated bibliography. Also, these tools are really useful when you're writing a paper, because they can format your APA references and citations for you. Now, it doesn't matter if you use these tools or not. Everyone should know how to reference an APA and should understand the styles for citation and reference. So I wanted to bring that up, because an annotated bibliography sometimes seems like just an exercise, but it really is meant to help you keep track of what you read, what you picked up, why you think it was important, because sometimes you'll pick up an article and you'll find this isn't important to my topic. So that's just where I wanted to go with as far as the usefulness of an annotated bibliography in your work. Let's move now to week 6. I want to thank you, those of you who brought to my attention about this grammar review link that was broken. I think this year something happened where some of our resources just aren't accessible any longer. I replaced it with a link that should be helpful for you in organizing your argumentative paper and thinking it through, and some helpful tips in how to provide the evidence that you're providing on your paper, and some tricks on how to make your paper interesting to the reader. So I hope you take advantage of those. Sorry, my dog is barking a little bit. Okay, so as we move, as we move forward into this week, you're going to be starting to construct your argumentative paper. You've already started to do some of it, and you're going to provide an outline. I hope the link that I just showed you will help you a little bit in making an outline that it's really easy to follow and write on. I can't overemphasize the importance of using outlines so that when it's time to write, you're not fumbling with which direction do I go next, because you've thought through all that logic ahead of time. The outline is meant so that you can know where to bring in your resources, where to make the important points that you want to make, and so that there's a logic to the reader. As I always say, a reader does not always know who you are or why you communicate the way you do. All they know is what the words say. So think about that when you're writing, and make sure that some of the idiosyncrasies and maybe the way you speak or maybe the way you use certain terms do not enter into the paper because you've thought it through. So when it's time to sit down and actually write it, all the logic has already been put into place and how you're going to proceed. Now, as we are, of course, into the last couple weeks of the course, I want to just remind people to look back at the deliverables from each week. Make sure you're up to date on your quizzes and that sort of stuff. Quizzes, of course, aren't completely due to the end of the semester, but I highly recommend that you use them as you continue your writing. Also, will make sure that when the time comes and the semester ends, you're not scurrying around trying to make up old assignments. As usual, I'm attaching the checklist to this announcement so that you can follow through and make sure you can check off everything that's necessary for this particular week. As always, I'm looking forward to see what you come up with next this week, and I'll be seeing you on the boards. Okay, thank you. Have a good day.